All right, good morning, H4K team. How you guys doing?
Morning.
Good. Well, we're going to start us off with our Christmas mugs with a COVID cheers. So, mugs up. Merry Christmas, everybody, and cheers. There's clink. Clink, 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 clink. Well, we figured we would take the opportunity to just slow down a little bit. You know, there's a lot of concerns and stressors out there. One particularly that we all know is COVID. And just as Christmas is coming up, you know, as the H4K team, as we care for kids, I wanted us just to kind of slow down and think about our families, the families that we care for, and the kids that we care for too. Just to kind of stop and appreciate what the season means, not only for us, but also for our church and for those that we care for and those who are watching today. And so I want to start us off, because it's an easy question. I want to ask you guys, just share, what is your favorite tradition in your family that you remember back when you were a kid? Margaret, I see your eyes going back and forth.
So, of course, y'all know I'm an old Memphian, and so the tradition was always to go downtown to Goldsmiths to Enchanted Forest.
Goldsmith.
Goldsmiths, my very first job.
Is that Macy's? Is that
it is now Macy's. But as a little girl, the magic inside Enchanted Forest just brought the season. Like, you're just, you know, as a little girl, you're just doing this the whole time. And I still remember it. And I still have pictures of me and Santa from those days at Goldsmiths. I know today, though, that they've moved it to the Pink Palace.
Yeah.
So it's different, though.
Yeah. Do you and Lucy go to Pink Palace to kind of just...
We have been when they were little.
Gotcha.
But it wasn't the same.
Not the same.
It's not the same.
No.
But, yes, that was one of the favorite things.
Awesome. Shelly, what about you, sister?
Well, I'm from Texas, so it was a little different there. It was hot, so usually we were wearing shorts during Christmas time. But our tradition that we did was...
Go to the beach.
No. Actually, I don't think we ever did that.
That's awesome.
That's a great idea. We had tamales. So we would
Really?
have tamales. So we'd go to church as a family, and then my mom would have tamales in the crock pot because that way they would be ready for dinner. We'd get home from church, we'd have tamales, and then we would open up all of our presents at that time because we focused the night before on Christ and what it was to love each other and give each other presents. So.
Awesome. Wrapped in love like tamales.
Yes, all warm and spicy.
And Jerry, you got a precious little baby girl, right?
I do.
So 1 year old, right? So I mean, are there traditions that you grew up with that you'd like to duplicate in her life as well? I mean, what?
Now we're gonna have some new ones.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna have to shoot something for her. It's just where we at in life. Well, I think for us growing up, East Atlanta, gang, we was in here. Getting fresh. You got some new shoes, new sweater. We're going to the mall. We're going to see a movie. That's what a lot of us did.
Nice.
Even at a young age. Now, mind you, this isn't a tradition I enjoyed. I wasn't much of the stylish one, but I remember just football games around the neighborhood and just kind of waiting to get back to the house and seeing everybody getting showered up, the girls doing their hair and stuff like that, and dusting out, you know, their new shoes, fresh out the box.
Yep.
But the family movie is what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because throughout the year, a lot of us are socially in a lot of different places, a lot of different circles, friend groups and things like that. But it was like one of the times we as a family could stunt on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, I don't care, you know, who you with. I'm with my family. Most of us fresh. I was the exception. But it was just the idea of togetherness, being in public together. Because that's not something we would see often.
Yeah.
And a lot of times not something that's often desired.
Yeah.
But that was like kind of the one time a year we desired to be with each other. And for my siblings, they got to dress me up.
That's awesome. They got to show you off.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you're not wearing that today. This Christmas, you wearing this. Like this is my brother's Christmas polo from like 2-3 years ago, and in the right fashion. And he just said, "Hey, here, you know,
check
this
this
is gonna be yours this year." And
That's funny. That's funny. Kelly.
Well, like Margaret, we used to go to the Enchanted Forest down at Goldsmiths. Yes.
All right. Were you born and raised in Memphis?
I was born and raised in Memphis.
Okay.
Yeah. Then, you know, went to the Pink Palace,
Yeah.
so we would do that for a while. We don't do that so much anymore, but now our tradition is to go through Starry Nights, to drive through that. The kids will put their pajamas on
Nice.
and cocoa,
Yep.
and we'll drive through and see the lights.
Yeah.
And when they were little, they would all end up in the front seat with me in my lap.
Of course.
So,
Yeah,
but
yeah, absolutely.
now they just roll down the window and act nutty. So
Now you try to lock the doors, like, shh, be quiet,
Yes.
sit down.
It's like,
be quiet.
is it like 20, 30 minutes though, watching people's rear view lights for a while?
Not really. No.
They
'cause there's
keep adding to it.
They
you
keep
see,
adding
right?
to it. There's always something to look off into in the distance.
okay.
You know, and there's music playing and
Because there's moving lights, right?
moving
That's
lights.
actually-
Word.
Yeah,
it's very, very
gorgeous.
cool.
It's worth it.
Absolutely
Yeah,
gorgeous.
it's not a rinky-dink operation. It's pretty good. It's
go.
nice.
There you go. Keith, you got some fun traditions in your family.
You know, growing up, it was funny. We always, Thanksgiving was always when we had all our whole family together with grandparents and all that stuff. But Christmas was always just our family. And the funniest thing I remember about Christmas is we would all wake up. You know, you wouldn't sleep all night ahead of time because you're so excited about what you think you're going to get
Right.
and whatever else. And my parents always messed up the presents. You know, it was always something you never quite you knew what you were going to get, but you never quite got exactly what you were going to give. You know, going to get stuff, but it was going to be. But I remember my dad would go to the Christmas tree, and he would look at the present. He would go, Keith, and just throw it over his shoulder. You know, Jan, Shay,
Nice.
all my siblings.
Football
he would just,
Santa.
Yeah, he would just throw things over his shoulder. We had to catch it. This was this fragile, you know, throw it over. You got to catch it, kind of stuff. And I remember that. I remember the first time that was my Christmas for multiple years growing up. And I remember the first time I went to Linda's house before we got married for Christmas. Her parents did quite the opposite. Everyone would wake up like at 9 or 10 o'clock, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
what's taking so long? Then they would all eat breakfast,
Yep.
and then they would all get everything here. And then we'd all sit down, and they would go, okay, this one's for you. And everyone would watch them open their presents.
Oh,
This one's for you.
It takes forever,
It's
doesn't it?
It's the
Oh my
complete opposite of what we.
Oh, the
none of
toss
us-
and unwrap versus,
yeah,
okay,
None of us ever knew what anybody else
10
got 'cause we
minutes
were-
versus 3 hours.
Absolutely.
Did you go in age by order of age?
Oh, that's
Linda's
good.
house?
At Linda's house.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
how.
what
No,
you do
they
at
just
mine.
did it. They
about
just
right.
did it. However, no, at my house it was over in 5 minutes and we all went back to bed. You know, that's the way
Nice.
that my Christmas is. So that's growing up kind of thing.
That's
So
funny,
kind of
man.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I have my Yoda mug here to kind of symbolize it. One of my things that my families did, I wouldn't necessarily know it was a tradition, but is movies. We'd always watch movies.
Yeah.
But we were afraid to go outside because people would be judging us. No, I'm just kidding.
That could be real.
No, but the reality is probably we were just a bunch of hooligans, and so we were like, let's just stay at home. You know, let's just chill. My dad was a scary movie fan, so we would always watch scary movies too. It was kind of a weird deal. Yeah. So Freddy
Families are different.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger Christmas. That was a weird deal. No, I don't even know if that exists. That'd be hysterical. But last night, one of the traditions that we would do as a family is we would I don't know if you could call this a tradition, but obviously our parents would hide our gifts all over the house, right?
Oh.
And not before Christmas. I mean, like not on Christmas, but before Christmas. So
Yeah.
it was almost like, could our parents hide them well enough? And so me and my brothers would always know, like, hey, they're gone, they're working, let's go check it out. And so we would tear the house upside down trying to find the gifts. And one year, we found where they had just hidden the mother load of things, right? I mean, there was a go-kart, there was a basketball goal, there were bikes. I mean, it was going to be the best Christmas ever. We're like, yeah! But we had found it like a week in advance, so we had to wait. We couldn't tell our parents that we found it. And that particular Christmas, I'll never forget it, because that particular Christmas, I was so not excited because I wasn't surprised by anything.
Yeah.
And so to this day, I quit looking for. I don't want anybody. I don't tell me anything. Don't give me any hints. I want to be surprised by Christmas. And so I reminded myself that. So I told my son that too, so that he quit looking.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
But we started doing movies with our kids this year, and if you hadn't had the chance to watch it, there is a new movie out on Netflix called Jingle Jangle.
Ha.
Have you seen this?
One of my students said, "Hey,
You gotta
remind
check
me
this
of
out."
Forrest Whitaker. They
Oh,
didn't
man.
say Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah, so Forrest Whitaker, it's beautifully done. If you're a big fan of The Greatest Showman, the choreographer who did The Greatest Showman also choreographed for this. It's obviously it's for kids, so it's much more simple, but super fun. We watched it last night. My kids were dancing in front of it, so it was just kind of a fun thing to kind of continue that tradition of watching movies as we lead up into Christmas. So just curious with you guys, I mean, what are you guys doing with your kids now? I know y'all talked about your traditions, but is there any new ones that you're wanting to do or that you're doing with your kids now that you look forward to every year? Kelly, I'll start with you.
Well, we definitely do movies. Home Alone. for
Yes,
sure
of
every
course.
year.
You have to.
And of course, me being the mom, I'll sneak off and just watch my Hallmark movies.
Oh, that's
Annoys
terrible.
everyone.
Amen.
We should
With
stop
your box of tissues.
Well, I don't know. What's my ice cream? Yeah. But another tradition, one tradition that we always do, before Christmas, we're to the movies, just looking at lights, things like that. But on Christmas, one main tradition, and I don't think they like this one, but it's set in stone because it was what happened when I was little, is Mom has to be downstairs first, the first one downstairs, and I record them,
Yeah.
their reactions when they first walk into the room.
We do that. It's
Now,
awesome.
it started with my dad. He'd got, the big camera on his shoulder.
The big boombox camera.
I'm down now.
With the
Yes.
VHS tape.
And I'd love to find some of those tapes. And we would run down and do that. And now my kids, and I'll hear them at the top of the stairs. Are you ready, Mom? Are you ready? I'm like, not yet. And come on, Mom, you're taking too long.
Yeah. The
But
anticipation is
I
awesome.
love looking back on those. So
Those are fun.
That's
Those
fun.
are fun. Keith.
We watch movies too, but our family is, we always talk about who's the funniest in the family, and they,
So you'll have like a little comedy club action.
everybody wants to quote movies. So the Jim Carrey Grinch is one
Yeah.
that my daughter Sarah quotes very well. She does that one.
Like
And so-
impersonates also.
Oh yeah, it's super good. And she did it from when she was a small kid. Would always talk about the answering machine he did, but I'll gut you like a fish kind of thing.
Yeah.
Super funny. So we did that.
That's Christmas too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So most of it is just being together, hanging out.
Yeah.
I tell everybody I don't live an Instagram life. I'm so terrible about having things recorded and just seeing things going and happening and stuff. So we've not always been the greatest at recording things, but it's just time to spend together and to hang out and just to be family together. Yeah,
That's
the main
good.
thing.
Slowing
Yeah,
down on
yep,
that. That's good.
Yep.
And Jerry, with baby Niecy, man, what kind of traditions do you want to start up?
Until she's able to shoot something, I think we can start. Something my wife and I we talked about is actually giving gifts all throughout the year. Maybe 2 gifts a month, and just doing 1 gift on Christmas. So that way she doesn't kind of get the idea that, hey, Christmas is all about getting gifts.
That's cool.
But rather on that Christmas day, finding gifts to give to others. And we're gonna skip that this year, but I know it could be a good year to start. But anyway,
She wouldn't know what you were doing anyway. She just had
exactly,
one.
exactly. Which is why we don't do birthday parties.
That's
Anyway,
good.
but
You're
now I think I want the idea for her, for it to be Christ-centered, like biblically understanding. First of all, we're not the Messiah, so people shouldn't be bringing us gifts.
I see.
But just an opportunity that seeing it from God's lens, where He's the one that gave the gift. And so just finding out ways that we can really do something meaningful in the lives of those around us. So I mean, I'd even like for us to load our vehicles with gifts from friends and coaches and family members, whoever they're around, and just we be the Santa in the sleigh, you know what I'm saying, with the reindeer. That thing got a hammy in it. And we just kind of start up, do some laps around town and just dropping stuff off.
That's good.
Try to be Amazon to the doorstep.
That's good. That's good. An easy plug with that one is our Christmas tree, Angel Tree.
Yeah. Angel Street Gang. Y'all
Yeah,
in
so
here.
all that kind of stuff, we can go. That's one of the things that our family does is, particularly with my Bowdor family, we will split the amount of money that we spend. So whatever we spend for our family, we'll also spend for one of the families that we pick off the tree.
Yeah.
And so we take the kids and the families and we go shopping for the families on the list. So they kind of get that mentality of,
Word.
hey, it's not just about us, it's about all of us together caring for one another. So that's good. That's good. Shelly.
Well, it's weird. My youngest is now a junior in high school, so I look back at what we did when they were younger, like with Jerry, and we started doing like 3 gifts. So we would do one thing that they need, one thing that they want, and then we would do something that was Christ related for them. But as we've gotten older, or as they've gotten older, I guess we've gotten older too.
Yeah.
That's very sad. I've found that we didn't really hold fast to a tradition. We would do the angel tree. We would go and give gifts as a family. We changed things up. We always watch movies every year, make fun of all the Hallmark movies,
Yeah.
but the girls we still
Well, your
like
kids
them.
could all play in a Hallmark movie too.
I know.
So
I've told Benjamin that'd be perfect for him. But so we've not really had any big traditions for that. So I'm more like with Keith in that regards. To us, it's just about being together as a family
That's good.
and not defining Christmas Eve or Christmas morning as the time that you open up those packages and that you're celebrating. It could be in January 1st when you see everybody, but it's more about family and just being together with one another and focusing on the reason, which is Christ.
And
so.
we did try to read the Christmas story,
Yeah.
in the book of Luke,
Yeah.
every year and stuff. And so that's some kind of one too.
Yeah, we read the Gift of Magi.
Okay,
Gift
yeah.
of the Magi.
Yeah.
Oh. Anyways, it's just funny. It's a funny joke
Is
inside
that
of
a
our
musical?
family. No. It's just it's an old story. It's a gift of the two, like it's a husband and a wife, and they are wanting to give gifts to each other, but they have nothing. So they sell their most prized possession. But the interesting thing is the gifts that they find for each other is to complement their most prized possession, but they both gave it away to buy for the other. It's a beautiful story. It's really sweet.
Oh.
We let the kids read it, those who can.
Mm-hmm.
So they stumble over a few words, but it's still comical. But that's when they'll stutter like, oh. Like that's an onomatopoeia. I'm supposed to emphasize that. So that's good. That's good. Margaret, with your kids are grown up now too. I mean,
Grown.
yeah?
Will's 31 and Lucy's 29, and things are different, of course.
Is there anything
But-
that you still do with them though, like with particularly
Oh,
Lucy?
absolutely. So the tradition had always been on Thanksgiving. We
Yeah.
started Christmas then
Yeah.
with Home Alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that always kicked off the season.
Yeah.
Watching a movie.
That's it.
And as the month progressed, it would be the Christmas shoebox. Aunt Carol and Uncle Gary
Oh,
had
yeah.
always done that.
Yeah.
And so it was always us going
Mm-hmm.
out to fill the Christmas boxes.
That's awesome.
So that was and that still goes on today with our family.
Yeah.
And they started when they were little kids. Moving on up to Christmas, when they were little, I got to read. I always read the night before Christmas
Yeah.
because I love to read books. and then the Christmas story,
Yeah.
from the Bible. We would always do both. And now our tradition though on Christmas is it's game night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
turn up.
singing
I'm there.
karaoke. We do Christmas karaoke, y'all.
That's awesome.
And it is the fun. And Uncle Tommy brings out the bongos and the bells, and we just have a whole band going and singing. So it's a crazy
That's
night at the
hysterical.
Blunts, but it's all about family, as we've all
That
said.
sounds more like Keith's stories. That's what you're bringing up the bongos.
All right.
That's hysterical. Yeah, well, my family and I, we one of the things that we did with our kids, so we have a little bitty Christmas tree, and so my wife's family, they really do like just sharp Christmas trees. My family, they're like, just throw it on there. If it sticks, that's where it lays, kind of thing. So my kids have that personality type, and so the small tree is for them. And we had filmed the first time Cade, before Emmeline was here, had decorated it, and it was so funny because he had watched Julie decorate the tree with the ornaments. I'll do the heavy lifting, and she has the placements of everything. And so Cade would put the ornament on, take a step back, ponder.
That's so you, Chad.
Pontificate, then come back and move it around like an inch over, and he goes, perfect. And we love that video. So I got a chance to see Emmeline do that. Cade was at school. She was decorating the little tree, and she did the exact same thing. And it's just one of those things that you're like, that's awesome, decorating the tree. But yeah, family is certainly important in that. As we kind of wrap up this conversation, this has been a heck of a year. We've had many things come at us, not just COVID. There's a lot of things that COVID revealed in our lives and our families' lives, and just added stressors as we've prayed for one another over this year. What is something that we're really looking forward to specifically this year with Christmas? That might be a harder question to think through. I'll start, give you guys a chance to kind of think it through. My family, we used to do, this just happened after Julie and I were married. We would do a family trip together after Christmas. We would leave on Christmas Day. So we'd open our gifts, and then we'd travel on Christmas Day to wherever we wanted to. And it was almost like a captivated, isolated family party. Like you couldn't go anywhere. You didn't know anybody. Sometimes you couldn't even speak the same language. And so you had to be together. And but we just got to... every chance we got when we traveled, wherever we went, we stopped and just looked at the wonder and beauty of God's creation. Not just the culture of people that we were surrounded with, but the fingerprint in the mountains, the magnitude of the sea. Wherever we went, we just kind of got that opportunity. And being a pastor and always kind of making that religious scriptural connection. In the back of my head, I'm like, you know, when Jesus comes back, he's going to take us all back as a family. We're all going to go on a big family trip, you know, and I'm really looking forward to that. This year we're not taking a trip, but we will be thinking about what it looks like to just stop and enjoy what we do have, whether it's at our homes or just to kind of slow down. And so the slowing down part is one that, you know, a lot of people are taking PTO and we're intentional about it. It's a time to pause. And so that's what I specifically am looking forward to, not thinking about work, not thinking about what is weighing on us from last week or a week ahead. I just want to take the time to appreciate right now. So I'm looking forward to that in the Christmas.
And that 240 loop, you do about 5 times. You'd be surprised.
Man, yeah, man. Slow down. Keith, man, what specifically this year are you looking forward to?
You know, it's funny too. Now, I guess this year the main thing is the grandkids.
Yeah.
The youngest is going to be 2 on Christmas, and so I've got a couple that are 2, and then one that's 4. Working on 5, and that's going to be the fun part. They're really going to understand what Christmas
That's awesome.
is, and not that, you know, we don't go overboard on gifts because our kids have so much stuff they don't need anything, but just the excitement and just the fun of, you know, being together. That's the main thing. So that's good. That's going to be the fun part this year.
Yeah, watching the new generation.
Yeah.
Appreciate the holiday.
Yeah.
That's good.
Throwing the presents at them. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Fragile.
Yeah.
Margaret, what about you this year?
This year will be quite different, but I will have both children under the same roof, which I am so thankful for.
When's the last time that's happened?
Thanksgiving.
Wow. Okay. Well, before
It was
like
the
weeks
first
ago.
time-
Christmas.
a
When's the
year.
last- yeah, it's been a year.
It's
Okay,
always
so
a year.
I didn't know if he could come back because he travels so much. Will travels so
Yes,
much.
he travels so much, but he came here for Thanksgiving, and I've gone there for the past 10 years, so that was totally new this year. But having both children, we have some illnesses in the family, so we will not be together this year, so we can protect them. So things will be different, but we do have a big blessing. My daughter's getting married in February, so we
New generation.
it's a new generation and an extended family that we will be celebrating with this year.
Yeah.
So it'll be the first,
That's awesome.
and so it's new beginnings.
That's awesome. Kelly?
Well, we are always together as a family at my parents' house, and what's a little exciting this year is my sister's new baby.
Oh.
And so, you know, he's too little to know right now, but
Sure.
just adding another person to our big, huge family is going to be amazing. My brother is going to be home from Colorado. I haven't got to see him for a year.
Wow.
So that'll be amazing. And there probably will be 4 out of us 5 siblings together. I keep praying that my oldest brother will come home, but you know, he's got responsibilities and things, but I hope he can make it so we can all be together because it's been a long time. But my prayer for this next year is to be intentional for looking for the good. You know, we've all been focused on so many things that have gone wrong this year, and sad things, bad things, but to just be very, very intentional about what is coming that is good, what has happened that is good, and to just have a fresh start for everyone.
It's good.
Yep.
It's good. Shelly?
So this year, it's been crazy. I'm going to have our family home. So I was talking with them and what they wanted to do, and they just didn't want to go travel and go see other family members. They just wanted to be here together. So we're going to stay here, and I guess sort of what Kelly was going off about, I just want to really focus on, and you too, being in the now and not taking for granted for the moments that we have in our lives, and be intentional about creating a memory or an experience that they'll remember. Because I guess I look back at all the Christmases, I mean, just a few that I've had, all the Christmases that we've had, and they sort of blend together sometimes.
Yeah.
And I really want to try to make it where it's memorable, something that's memorable about it. And it doesn't have to be snapped in a photo for them to remember it, but something that's memorable in their minds.
Yeah, they'll always be there. That's good.
So,
And Jerry?
Dun, dun, dun. So, in the 6 years I've been married, my wife, her birthday is 2 days after Christmas.
Oof. Tough one.
Man.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And so, it's a juggle. It's a wrestle between trying to get our young family established, get people around us who love us. We're not from Memphis, and we haven't, since our marriage, we haven't been living in the cities where our families are.
Yeah.
And so, and then making sure my wife is seen and celebrated, that she feels seen, and loved and celebrated. And this year, of course, with traveling restrictions, as they should be, I don't know. We are excited. So the question you asked is, what are we looking forward to for this year?
Yeah.
I think I'm ready for a slow start. Things don't kind of have to crescendo immediately into, hey, this is the family tradition, or this is going to be the thing that we celebrate. I think I'm eager to just kind of watching it happen.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here in Memphis.
That's it.
And it's been a rough year for a lot of black families in our country.
Yeah.
And so I think the idea just to appreciate what we do have, what God has given us, the people in our lives that are around us, that's not a small feat either.
Yeah.
That's a lot to be thankful for. So I mean, I think that's probably where we're gonna park it at. Is just we got slideshows on repeat in all rooms now.
Yeah.
Shout out to our Echo shows and all the other stuff we got going around. But no, I think this one's gonna be a year in which you just consider the progress that's been made, particularly when we talk about Christmas. It's not the fact that just Jesus showed up, but I mean, he was here for a while.
Yeah.
He got stuff moving. He moved the ball. And so in the same way in Jesus' life, he just didn't start healing folks and casting out demons, and he just didn't go to the cross the day he got there.
He matured.
He matured. He lived life. He grew in wisdom and stature and favor with God and man. So I think as we're watching our little one do that, and watching how God matures our heart and our young marriage as well, we're just asking God to continue to do that.
So slow start and focusing on Kristen. That's what you're looking for.
Man, got to. If anybody got any Groupon, you know what I'm saying, some Airbnbs, you know what I'm saying?
Man, I love you guys.
We love you.
I love
team.
what we get to do for this church, for Memphis. And I'm getting emotional because the smoke's in my eyes.
Oh, yeah. Now you know how I felt for like 40 minutes of this.
But as I close this, I want to close this with one word in prayer. That as we talk about these things, the thing that's hit me that we can all agree on. So I'm going to give you guys all a chance when we pray to pick one word that you want to close this in prayer in. And then I'll close this with more words, but also including your words. But giving each of you guys the chance to think about that, to kind of tie everybody's thing together. We always look forward to Christmas. And Jerry, you hit on this. We all kind of hit on it. We realize that Christmas kind of is every day for us. We have a Christ day every day.
Right.
We have gifts in our lives every day. And Kelly, to your point this year, may we take the opportunity to see the gift every day that we're thankful for. That the Lord gives us an opportunity to pause on Christmas Day in December, but may we take the opportunity to pause every day and appreciate those gifts. And His gift in our life, of freedom and grace and mercy, but also the families that He's given us, not only biologically, but spiritually as well. And so as we close this in prayer, we can go ahead and all bow our heads. And Jerry, we're going to start with you. Just say one word, and then go around, and then I will finish this off.
Sustain.
Joy.
Rejoice.
Devotion.
Serenity.
Lord, there are many words that we could say to describe this past year, but may we focus on your embrace, your grace, your mercy, your promises, that no matter what we're going through, that we can always take the time to pause, crawl up into your lap, and be embraced by our spiritual Father. Yeah, we think about Santa. Yeah, we think about crawling in his lap and give him our wishes, Lord. But may we crawl into your lap, offer our prayers to you, our concerns to you, all that we have that are burdening us. May we give them to you as you give us the gift of your Son every day. May we take time to enjoy our families biologically and spiritually this year around the Christmas tree. We love you and we praise you. And we all said,
Amen.
and thank you guys very much.
Cheers.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Hey!